We talk a lot about how to build things with our modern and even our old traditional geospatial tools. We talk a lot to each other about this, a lot of tutorials, a lot of like how I built this. We talk a lot about data specs. All of those things are super important. This is one of those two things are true moments. It is super important to talk about those things and to have that knowledge. Like the technical stuff cannot be overlooked. And here's the second truth. We are neglecting to talk about an important part of the modern stack, which is we don't talk about what to build. Now, I know what you're going to say, Ryan, that's not a thing. That is not something that we need to even worry about or talk about. We will never run out of stuff to map, to analyze. All this cloud native stuff is opening up more things that we can map. Like, we don't need to worry about that. And here's what I would say to that. Let's zoom out of the geospatial world for a minute and just look at like software and the technology ecosystem in general. Like, we have never had better computers. We've never had like more programming languages. We've never had more open data, more proprietary data. Here's probably like the best example of this. Every morning, I have the ability to walk out of my shower and step on a little computer that will tell me how much I weigh that day. And I can record it on the computer on my wrist. And I now have like a very detailed record of part of my health. And I carry around another little computer in my pocket that is going to listen to satellite signals in space to learn where it's at on the surface of a planet every couple of seconds. I can collect and build a database of every spot on Earth I have set foot on. And all of that has only happened within my parents' lifetimes. Like, that was not a thing when they were born. What I'm getting at is that today is the most technologically advanced day in history. We can answer more questions and solve more problems today than we could yesterday, and we'll be able to solve more and answer more questions tomorrow. So why is it, with all this technological advancement, some products are more profitable than others, or some products and apps get used more than others, even if they're not aiming for profitability? It's because there are people talking about what to build and who they're building it for and why they're building it. And they're getting really concrete about those things. This is how the job of the product manager was born out of the modern technological ecosystem. Good products they have to have four things, okay? They have to be valuable. They have to be viable. They have to be usable, and they have to be feasible. If we are building things that are valuable, we're getting really concrete about what the problem or pain point that application or software is solving. And who are we solving for it? Like that's the value we're delivering. Viable. Does it make business sense? Or if we talk about feasible, like, is it possible? So feasible is number 3. Is it like technologically possible? That comes into the viability conversation. Is it like expensive to compute it? Is the technology for it expensive? Do a lot of people have this problem? Like, that speaks back to the value part of it. And then usability, I think, can best be boiled down to, can we solve the pain point without introducing new pain? And a great example of this is data products versus data repositories. We can have a data repository that has a bunch of data in it. We can have APIs that give you access to data. But if they aren't like documented and usable and like it's clear what you're supposed to do to get that, it's not a good data product. Valuable, viable, usable, feasible. Now, you say, Ryan, 4 things. That sounds pretty easy. Of course, all of this is much easier said than done. That viable one, like, does it make business sense? Or is it at least financially sustainable? That's a hard piece. Sometimes the technical piece of it is really hard. And that is exactly why we need someone to be focused on those 4 things, because they are not simple. They're complex. They're hard. If we have a product manager on a team, that is the person who's thinking about those 4 things. So how do product managers answer those questions? Design thinking. It's a framework. And more than a framework, it's a mindset and a toolbox that can get you answers to those questions. I'm not going to go super deep on this, because the main thing that I want you to take away from today are the 3 questions. What am I building? Who am I building it for? And why? And then the 4 criteria. Is this valuable? Is it viable? Is it feasible? Is it usable? And really, like, those 7 things capture the essence of the design thinking mindset. Now, if you want like the technical inside baseball of it. Like if you go Google design thinking, here's like the technical phases of it that you will find. Sometimes it's broken up into like 4 or 5 or 6, but like generally it boils down to phase 1 is understand and observe. Talk to users, learn about them, empathize with what they are doing. And then once you've gathered all that data in those first 2 phases, define the problem. Then once you've got concrete problems and you've identified which problem you think might be most valuable to solve, come up with the potential solutions. Then you're going to pick a solution. You're going to build a prototype. You're going to test that prototype. Look at what you learned from that prototype testing, reflect on it, and repeat. And that'll make your prototype better each time. You'll learn new things and you'll get a product out there that really solves the problem for your end user. So that's design thinking. Understand and observe, define your problem, brainstorm solutions, build and test prototypes, reflect and repeat. Okay. Like that's the value of the framework, is that it gets you answers to the 3 questions and those 4 criteria quickly. So when you have an idea for a product, that can be a piece of software, that can be a data repository, don't start building it. First thing you need to do is talk to someone you think might use it. Figure out, does that problem actually exist? You have a hypothesis, it's probably a good one. The problem likely does exist in some form, but what context does it exist in? Like we're geographers, we're all about context. Like be a geographer of your problems. Like, are there other higher priority problems that you can solve? Like you might have the right vertical, but you're solving the wrong problem. Okay, so we've talked to the customer. We've got a somewhat validated hypothesis. Should you start coding now? No. Get a UX designer to build a prototype. It's so fast. There's a brilliant conversation. I don't remember which of the podcasts it was on, but it was a case for why geospatial needs UX designers. And I'll provide it in the show notes. But the reason you need a UX designer is because it's so fast to build prototypes. Get a prototype, put it back in front of that potential customer you talked to, and get more data. Show it to them. Let them click around it. Show them what it does. And then listen for little gold nuggets. Like when they say, it would be nice if, boom, that was just a pain point they pointed out. Collect all of that. Write those down. Come out of that testing session and say, okay, what did we learn? Like, what did we further validate our hypothesis? Do we need to go in a different direction now? Because if we have to change direction now, we still haven't written a line of code. Prototype, 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 and iterate on your prototypes before you ever start coding and building. Okay, that's enough about design thinking for now. I'm going to dive into each one of those 5 phases in individual episodes, and I'm going to give you cool ways to like get those little nuggets out of people, because it's hard. Take like physical pain. You have like an old sports injury and you just kind of get used to it. You're like, this will go away, or like, it's not that bad. I can work with it. And some people have more pain tolerance than others, but like in general, we can work around our pain. The same holds true for psychological and like emotional pain or workplace pain, like the friction that we feel in our systems. We just get numb to it. People are not good about talking about their pain. And so these tools are designed to help us uncover the pain points, the friction, the inefficiencies, however you want to phrase it. Okay, but let's have a reality check really quick. Ideally, we should have a designated product person on every team. The reality is that is probably not going to happen right now. Geospatial is not an industry, from what I've seen, that has an established record of putting product managers on teams. Geospatial SaaS products, yes, if you're like a software company like Mapbox, but thinking like city governments, having like someone who's like a true product manager, product strategist, it's not going to be a reality. So the reality most of us are going to be working in is that we'll have to do this on top of our current roles. You're probably thinking, great, another thing that I have to do on my already overloaded plate. The good news is that I'm not asking you to do one more thing or even 10 more things. I'm not looking to give you more tasks. What I'm looking to do is teach you a new way to look at your work. I've worked at one company that had a true product management team, like a director of product. We had a product manager, a UX designer, and I was one of like 2 subject matter experts. And this is where I learned design thinking. It's where I learned product management. But when I got my next job, that structure did not exist. I just brought design thinking with me, and it was just a part of me. I can't unlearn it. And it just becomes a part of how you approach problems. And as geographers, this should be really familiar to us. There's a really well-known geography quote you see sprinkled throughout like lectures and textbooks and stuff. The gist of it is that discovery does not come from seeking exotic new landscapes. It comes from seeing your existing landscapes with new eyes. It's not seeking the far-fetched mountains and valleys of the world. It's seeing the mountains and valleys in your backyard with new eyes, understanding the context they exist in, and understanding the complexity of them better. And that's what I'm asking you to do with your work, is just approach it with a new mindset of design thinking and empathy for the user. That's still hard to do. I want to make it as practical as possible. And that's what this show will be. I'm going to teach you the design thinking framework, the mindset, the practical tools from the toolbox to help you figure out what you should be building with modern GIS, who you should be building it for, and why. I'm going to give you examples from my career, actual projects I worked on, how I implemented this, challenges I ran up against. We'll probably have some guests on that have some thoughts on this. And I'm going to do tech reviews too. I want to show you my favorite geospatial products and the little touches that just delight me as a user. And then like the pain points that I wish someone would solve. If you have products you want to see, tell me. If you have strong opinions about products, tell me. If you're a product manager in geospatial, I super want to hear your thoughts. My hope is that these conversations can help us make geospatial itself as a technology, as an industry, more valuable, more viable, more usable, more feasible to different verticals, that we can find better ways to talk to people with problems, that we can have better eyes to see problems, give us more skills to talk to people outside of our community and engage them.